All right, Tricia, we are live.
Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, hi, how are you?
I'm blessed. Always everything is good. Even when it's bad, I say it's good because why does complaining even help the situation?
Thank you so much. And so honored to have you as my guest. My name is Ching Juhl. I'm in New York City. Where are you?
I'm in Beverly Hills, California.
Yay! Sunny state. Yeah. So it's interesting. I have met so many wonderful people on Clubhouse, and you are one of them.
Thank
And
you.
you were so graciously also talked to me and interviewed me and featured me in your group. And thank you so much. So I would like to read a little bit of your short bio already. And so yeah, and the whole bio is in the description in this YouTube post. So Tricia Correia is an actress, voiceover actor, writer, director, and producer. She is a Hollywood entertainment professional with over 20 years of experience with film, television, and live events. Over her diverse career, she has worked on numerous television shows, such as the long running Big Brother, worked with A list celebrities, George Clooney, music artists, athletes, and mega churches, consulted and collaborated with software developers to create several apps. These are just a few of her accomplishments with arts and entertainment and Hollywood. And you can read more in the description below. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with me, Trisha.
Oh my gosh, when you just read that off, I'm all, who is she talking about? And
What a
Ching, let me
talented person.
thank you. You're always so kind to me. It's been a pleasure to get to know you and to see what you do is fantastic. I love seeing other women filmmakers, other just filmmakers who go out and produce products, projects that really make and are a difference. And so I'm in awe of you. I respect you. I just think you're making a change that is well needed in our community and also just in Hollywood in general. So this is an honor, a privilege, and a great pleasure for me. So thank you, Miss Ching. I love it.
Thank you so much. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your background, like your, upbringing. I always like to find out people's upbringing. Yeah.
Well, oh my gosh, where can I start? I was born and raised in San Diego, California, which you can't ask for a better city to be, to live in. I'm a beach baby. Where I grew up, where we were always either on the water or very near it. So the ocean has a very special call on my life. It's where I go to refresh. It's where I live, and there's just something about it that it soothes me personally. I have a family that's fantastic. I have this saying, and my family was not perfect, but they are perfect for me. I have a mom and a dad who raised me to be a very moral, ethical, loving, caring person. My whole family was in arts and entertainment. We're very creative. So it was something that at a very young age, it was encouraged and we had fun. We played various musical instruments, which I think must have drawn, just made my mom and dad crazy. There's three kids when we would get together. One's playing piano, one's playing saxophone, one's a flutist, flautist, who I am. So I think the neighbors, we probably made a lot of noise that keeping it real wasn't always
Yeah,
pleasant.
yeah.
And so my family was active in clubs and just in the community. So it was something that was always normal and natural to me. And so I enjoyed letting my call, my, if you want to call it, my passion, come out. And it just happens to be through film, television, and live events, where I'm able to be a voice sometimes for the voiceless. I'm able to, when something's happening, I can write about it and then say, is this just? Is this not a jest? Or is it just fun and entertainment, being goofy, or just something where there's a lot of joy in what you're saying? So that's pretty much who I am. Is I like to just present projects that have hope. I like to align with people that like doing the same thing. So that's why I think it's been very diverse, where I can do a documentary or do a feature film. Or if a student came up to me and wanted me to help them out with their project, I'm all, yeah, we're all about it. Let's do this thing. So that's really, I began as just a small child. We would put on plays, we would be goofy. So I was just a regular kid that knew that there was power in performance. And I always perform for an audience of one. It's a higher power, God.
Mhm.
That's really what's propelled my life. So that's been pretty much it for me. And I've had a lot of fun along the way and met so many people that are still my friends, and we continue to work together, and we call one another friends, family. So that's really how I started understanding who I was and what I wanted to do.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, out of all the roles you play, you are actress, you voice over, you're producer, you I'm sure you also raise money for your project. Um,
Yes.
how all these sort of, they're mostly entertainment business, I guess. You're not dentist. But how did this whole, where does it start? Do you remember your first job as entertainment business person?
Yes, that's such a great question, because it's going to be this is how I'm going to answer it. I got an agent, and when I got the agent and a casting director who were helping me out, and the first thing I learned right out of the gate, the power's not in front of the camera, the power is behind the camera. And what I liked about being an actress was I got to travel, go to different places, and meet people. But what I didn't like was you always have to be a certain weight, look a certain way. You have to be on a lot of times. And I don't mind that. And I'm all about the hair and makeup, as you can obviously tell, and my nails and looking pretty and smelling good. Absolutely. I just like that as a woman. I really, really do. But what happened was those folks started seeing what I could do. So my first commercial was with Jack in a Box, and I had one line and I loved it. You get paid for it. And there's things like called residuals and other things. And so I knew that not only could I do this job, but after I did it, I'd continue being paid for it.
Mm,
So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, that my performance would continue making money for me, because not only am I an artist, but I think about how can I make cash to do other things or keep doing what I'm doing, keep the
exactly.
lights on,
Mm.
eat,
Yeah.
have a roof over your head. So that was one of the first professional jobs I was paid for.
Wow.
And then as I started progressing in my career, when I would be on set, I started talking to different people. And at that time, they were mentoring me, and they said, "Hey, have you ever thought of starting your own studio or production company?" And I'll be really honest with you, it scared me, because I thought, how would I be able to do this? How
Mm,
could I get the funding? How? And they just started mentoring me. They said, "This is how you go about it." And they said, "Well, ultimately, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay as talent?" And I said, I think it's fun, but as you start aging out, I just have to keep it very, very real here. As a woman, it's very different than a man in Hollywood. And as you age out, and all that means is you're just getting older.
mm.
And I have the saying, and I heard it once, was, the older the violin, the sweeter the music. So
Yeah.
I could still bring a lot to what I do.
Mm,
However, I was learning that I was becoming limited. So what I started delving into was, I said, yes, I think I want to set up my own studio, my own production company. And I started getting with people who have done it and are doing it. And one of my bosses, literally, I became his work wife. I
mm,
was running his company. And as I did that, I learned what to do and
mm,
what not to do. I was
mm,
still acting at the same time, but then I started having opportunities where they said, "Would you like to direct? Would you
mm,
like to write? Would you like to
mm,
be the first assistant director?" And I
mm,
jumped at it. Even though maybe I didn't have the experience yet, I gained it through trying,
mm,
through failure, through success. So for me, a lot of times that's what I'll do is I don't always stay as one thing. I evolve into another thing
Mhm.
and then another. So then my wheelhouse gets quite large and I can bring more to the table. So if acting, I don't have as many jobs, well, I can direct or I can
Mhm.
write or I can produce. So that's really, I became multi and continue to be multifaceted.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, now tell me a little bit about the television. We all know the Big Brother. I used to watch a lot.
I know it's very
Yeah,
addicting.
yeah, yeah. Tell me a little bit, like, the some juicy stuff going on, or what do you do?
Juicy, juicy. Well, for that in particular, I actually got invited in. I had a friend who was working on the program, and they said, "Hey, would you like to go ahead and do this on the program?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to try to at least get my foot in the door." So what I was hired in was a PA to the producers, and you sign what NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. So there's things I can talk to you about, and some
Mm.
things that I can't.
Yeah.
So the things I can talk about is it's one of the most just fun experiences I've been on. Now, reality programming is much, different than, let's say, a series where it's plotted, it's planned out for you could get on a series and it's literally plotted out for 10 years if it goes that long.
Mm.
And a season is typically plotted out. You have backstories, you have the main story, characters that are going to develop, things that are going to go on.
Mm.
Big Brother, because it's a reality programming and
Mm.
it's a competitive reality programming, there are storylines and things that are fixed in that they're going to run and that they're going to do. So the producers do meet with the talent
Mm.
and they'll say, this is what we want from you. This is what you want to do. What I found fascinating was when you're on set and it shoots on the CBS lot off of Radford, which is in, Hollywood, which is in California. And so it's on the CBS back lot.
Mm.
And so what you do is when I'm handling talent, when they first come in, they're actually what you called sequester. It's like, if you know what being sequestered is, you can't have TV, you can't have your phone. There's a lot of things that are
Mm.
taken away from you.
Mm.
So my responsibility at the time, I was taking care of Jody Rollins, who it's kind of funny, and I still stay in touch with her to this day. But she was one of the first to be eliminated, like the first hour or two. Well, because
Oh
I was
no.
I was helping her out and I was helping out others. We were eliminated, and so they didn't need me anymore.
Mm.
But they did call me back. But I got promised to another project, so I couldn't come back. But anyways, this poor girl, she's very good at the game. She knows what she's doing, and she got eliminated. We laugh about it. I mean, literally in the first hour. And that, I don't think that ever happened before. So that was kind of an interesting milestone for the program.
Mm.
But what was great was as you're doing it and you go on set, because you don't go on set until literally the first day they start filming. There's hundreds of mics in the house. There's the cameras and everything. You have no privacy whatsoever. And so for me personally, I would never do that.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a private person to begin with.
yeah.
Also, when it's a closed set. There's no, I mean, you can't let information go out. We
Mm.
had when Jody and I were getting prepped to go literally on set. They brought in guard dogs, bomb sniffing dogs, paraphernalia, drugs, this and that. There's
Mm.
things you cannot be brought on set with. If you do, you are eliminated immediately and you'll never be asked to go back on the show.
Mm.
So
Wow.
I love those kinds of things. They're fun, but that was kind of a weird experience to me where,
Yeah.
they take away your cell phone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
you no longer are a person. And I
Yeah.
realized how much I really need my cell phone and how much I love my cell phone.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
It was fun. I learned a lot about
Uh-huh.
reality programming, how it works, who's in it, and so on and so forth. So I did enjoy the experience a lot because now
Yeah. It
if
was a
I
good program. It was
it
a
is.
good.
It's the best. It's been
Yeah.
the long running and it's produced well And I have to, give a shout out to the crew.
Mhm.
Those people work long, they work hard, they know what they're doing, and it's a well-oiled machine. So I
Mhm.
was glad I had the experience and that I was, handling Jody Rollins. She's just
Mhm.
terrific. She's a great gal. And she knew
Yeah,
how to play the game very
yeah,
well.
yeah. Isn't she like she is like a famous TV anchor, right? Isn't it?
No, Jody, actually, she's had her own radio show,
Oh, okay.
and, she's married. She just actually has a new baby girl
Oh, okay.
that was adopted. She's a really neat lady. I
Uh-huh.
like her a lot,
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
whole, thing about it was fun, but they take it very seriously,
yeah,
and that I think that's why it's been so long running. The storylines are good,
yeah,
and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. But once again, that whole sequestering, as soon as a person knows they're gonna be on the show,
yeah,
they'll have people come out, get you. You go into a hotel room, you
yeah,
everything, literally the clothes on your back, you pack
yeah.
a little something, and then you're gonna be in that house until you're either eliminated or
Mhm.
you are the winner. So,
Yeah,
and my
yeah,
season, Ian, I had a lot of fun with Ian. He won, and I get to know all the contestants, male
uh-huh,
and female,
yeah,
but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's hard work, it's long hours, but I
mhm.
I enjoyed it, and they kept asking me back. I just had other commitments,
Yeah.
so
Wow,
therefore I couldn't do it.
that sounds so fun. Yeah.
It was.
So I want to say hello to our audience members. I Sean is here. Sean, uh,
Sean, my brother.
how are you, Sean? And then Shark Fin is here. Shark Fin always comes to my
Hi,
my
Sharkman,
podcast.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah. So now let's talk about what there is a saying called what you do and why you do and what you do. So tell me about that.
Well, I'm gonna say this, what I do is not who I am, and how I mean that is I am a professional in Hollywood. I do all these various things. That's how I make a living. But I'm a person first and foremost, and I care about people deeply. And therefore, that is what I do. Who I am is about always uplifting people, always helping them out when they're in need. So I think I want to say that right off how important that is to me is that my life has been a journey of people investing in me, I investing in them, and that's what's the most important thing to me. So, yes, I'm very blessed and I'm able to have this as a career and will continue to do so, but I'm all about if you want to learn how to do this, if this is something that you can think that you want to make a living at, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I'd love to come alongside you, coach you, and tell you the do's and the don'ts of it. So, I like to be the type of person that don't make the the choices or some of the mistakes I made because sometimes it can be detrimental to your career, not all the time. And I always made good choices, honestly. And I was able to have opportunities that I lived the life of Riley. I mean, I've had people invest in me, like I was just saying, and believe in me. And it's really helped me to where I'm going and yet to go. So that is very, very important to me. Ching, if I could, break it down that way. But I have a private life. I have family. I enjoy Hollywood is great. It's a crazy town sometimes. It's a place where you have to be very focused, very centered. It is a business before it's even an art. And so I would suggest learning the mechanism of Hollywood, how it works, why it works, and how you fit in the mechanism and what you can do as a creative, as a person who works within it. So that's pretty much how I look at. I have a personal, private side, and I have a professional. Everybody sees what's going on side, basically.
Yeah, that's beautifully said.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of people have dreams of going, to Hollywood, to California, and especially for actors and actresses. And some, are beginners, and even they're very talented. So, what is your advice for someone is thinking about moving to California? Do you think, as actor and actress, is that the most popular way to do? Can someone be an actor, say, in New Mexico?
That's an excellent question, a great question, because it's the foundation question of an actor. This is how I did it, but you can do it the way you want to do it. I can always recommend. I would first and foremost learn your craft. Make sure that you're good at what you do. Get in any kind of productions, whether it is a student film, whether it's theater, whether it is voiceover. Now, each one of those is done a little differently. So, film translates differently than even television on how you are supposed to act. When you're in front of the camera, you can't be over the top. But when you're in the theater, you need to be, because you want to hit the person in the last seat and the person in the front seat. So I highly encourage a person is first look at the basics. Get a acting coach where you're at. Get with it's like getting in your tribe. Get with people that do what you do and start learning from them. But the first thing is knowing how to act on stage, knowing how to act in film, and knowing how to act in television, because each one has their different nuances. Then once you understand, as an artist, it would be the same thing as a musician. Practicing makes you better every day. Even though you're at the top of your field and you're the best of the best, what you put in is what you get out. And that's it. It's the same thing if you're a basketball player. More time on the court makes you a better player, because you can anticipate, you learn strategy, you have an understanding how your body translate. Your body as an actor is your language. And so I've always been, believed knowing is the key and doing is the door. So
Mm-hmm.
the more you know, the more doors that will be opened for you. Then as you get that on, find out what agents are in your hometown, whether you're in LA, because I'm going to go back to what you're asking, Ching. Should you come to LA? I think it's important to be in LA, because then you understand how the city works, how the business works, what types of agents are there. So that would be my next step. Get an agent, get a good agent, an agent that trusts you and you trust the agent. That agent should guide you in what type of headshots you're going to get, what type of auditions you're going to go out, so on and so forth. So those to me are key steps. Get your training, get represented. So you want to go out on legitimate jobs, because there unfortunately are people that will take advantage of you. And now there's so many things virtually due to, unfortunately, the pandemic, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So you want to have a reel, and a reel is simply all the work you've been doing. You put it on the reel, and then you can have it on a website, and there's all different kinds of websites and places where you can put yourself. So an agent or a casting director can start looking at you and then sending you out for work. So I'm really kind of dumbing it down and making it easy. But how I learned it, I learned my craft. I continue doing it. It's like a doctor. You don't just go to med school and be a resident only for a certain amount of time. You're staying sharp. And
Yeah.
now there's a lot of self-tapes that you send in for auditions. So just get with somebody who has your best interest at heart, will represent you. And so you can go out on these jobs. LA is a hub now. Atlanta is booming. Oh my gosh, there's so much work in Atlanta. Just look at Tyler Perry's studios, things like that. So I would really get in a community of artists that can help you get to your next steps. Because then you have to have a resume. There's all these little things that come
Right.
together, and it
Right.
fosters you as a professional that you want to. So think of it this way: if you get hired, when I was hired on jobs, they knew that I was a professional on set. I knew what my role was, and I knew how to get about it. And I'm always first in and last to leave. I've always been that way in my company, on set, you name it, because people want to make sure you know what you are doing when you're on set. You're not bothering other talent or the director or the producers. We need to know our roles, and we need to be professional about them. So I hope
Now,
that answers it.
yes, very, very good, very good. Now I'm thinking of, as a musician myself, we have to be trained from very young age, and then a lot of us goes to conservatory music school, and it's kind of important for musicians. Sort of, oh, which school do you go? Which school? But how about actors? Do you like? How do you learn your thing? You learn it where? Do you go to school or you learn by yourself?
You
Or
can. That's a fantastic question.
uh-huh,
NYU has a film program.
uh-huh,
There's in Los Angeles. I would just go to where you're at,
mm,
find out where these programs are. If it's community college, go to
mm,
community college and learn. Also get with other filmmakers, student filmmakers. I think are great to get, your teeth into a project.
mm,
So it's really finding out what's in your area. And let's say your area is limited. Well, go online and find casting directors, or it's about networking. It's about first establishing yourself.
mm.
Start asking the questions. Contact people. We've talked about Ching. You and I met on Clubhouse, and I think
Yeah,
it's been a great way to meet. Back channel people, get familiar with the platforms that are out there. There are casting services.
yeah.
I will say this, I'm not going to mention names, and this is the reason I'm not going to mention names, because I don't want you to think, oh, I'm recommending them. There's very good services out there. And you can go out there and get yourself on them. And typically what they want to see is a headshot. They want to see your resume. But a lot of people say, well, but I don't have anything on my resume. Well, still go out and get the experience. Do community theater. Again, I've been talking about student films. You can also create your own content. Right now, YouTube, all these streaming platforms, go on there and do something. Try to become an influencer. There's just many different ways now where even as an actor, you can get yourself out there and someone can see what you're doing, and then they may want to hire you in. But I think the first step is, one, learning your craft, doing it the best way you can, getting an agent. Then the agent will start sending you out on the jobs. Then once you go out on the jobs, there's things called callbacks that they want to call you back for the role. And that I've been on, one of the toughest callbacks I ever had, it was like 5 callbacks. And at the very end, I was done. And then I got the job. So, you have to have a thick skin. You have to know that this is a business of more probably starting out no's than yeses. But once you establish yourself, you're a known entity in a sense. You become a name. Then they're going to ask for you personally, because they know when you're on set, you come in prepared. You know your lines. You nail it, and then you go home. And that's really what happened to me, and continues to happen to me, is when I'm hired in, I do the job and I do it better than you. That's just, I have a very high standard. So I don't
That's
know
wonderful.
if that's bad.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Now in our business, right, or music, or in film, um, let's see, what else? Mostly entertainment business. There's a constantly, you have to do audition, you have to apply for jobs, you have to look for position, and there's a
Right.
lot of rejections. Yeah, because so how do you deal with the rejection?
Oh, that's such a good question. I call it the thick skin. Even if it's a fake thick skin, smile when you don't get the job. Be gracious. Thank those casting directors. Thanks those agents. Thank anyone who was involved when you went in for the audition. And I'm always about make a good impression. Even if you go into an audition and you make a wrong choice about what you're doing, make it strong, because you want to be remembered. What happened to me, and it's happened to me more than once, I went in for roles that I was not right for the role. And I actually got called back for other roles because they remembered me. I looked professional. They said, at the time, I emailed people thanking them for the opportunity. Do whatever you can that a person's going to remember you. And that's why I like either being the first person who auditions or the last. And I used to ask my agent that. I'd say, can you somehow stack me in the deck where I'm either the first or one of the last or one of the first? And that would happen a lot, that they would put me in that order,
Why is that? Tell me.
because they will remember you. They're not going to remember somebody in between unless you do an audition that you knock it out of the ballpark. And that's why even if you make a wrong choice, make that choice, and they'll remember you. Because I was on an audition one time, and I came in and they all looked at me and they go, you shouldn't have come in for this role. You don't look the part. You're not the age. They were saying all this stuff. And you know what I said to them? I said, thank you for that input. I appreciate that. I said, can I still read for it? And they said, absolutely, read for it. And you know that I didn't get the part, but they kept calling me back in for other things that I ended up getting. And
That's
that
great.
kind of, I was being really bold, and I
Yeah.
didn't waste their time. And so before I go out on auditions, I always ask my agent, can I look at sides? Can I get pre-prepared? What's the character like? What's going on? And then when I go in, I ask them just a few questions that make sense about the role that I'm auditioning for. And then I take a beat and I do it. Another thing that I do, and I do this for, oh my gosh, every time, is I am in character. I am already that character. So when I slate in character, I do everything, and I leave in character. And I have gotten such positive feedback from that every time. And they've even, like on callbacks and things, they've asked me to get out of character, and they just wanted to know me as a person. And that's another important thing. Be very respectful of everyone in the room. Shake every single hand if you can. Now, I know it's a little different.
Now is this.
That's something. Make eye contact. Even if there's 30 people in that room, and I have had that happen, you thank each person. Just go around, look around, thank them for the opportunity, and then leave. So those are just little tips that I do.
Wow.
And I do that as a producer when I'm on set, when I'm at table reads, when I'm at a party. I work the whole room because I want everybody to know they matter to me. So those are just little things I do.
Yeah. Wow. Very interesting. I hear a little bit feedback. Now, speaking of audition again, like in music, in orchestra audition, I've done a lot of them. You go there, they give you a list of things to play, and you play your first round. Say you play 6 things, and then if you made it to the second round, and you wait there for 3 hours until they call your name to do second round, then you play another 5 things or 6 things, and then you wait maybe another day to be called around for the last round. So how does audition in actors world, like, are they different or each time, or what is standard audition?
It depends, and that's a really great question. What I've experienced various things where what I do is I go in, I audition, and typically they'll give notes. They'll say something, oh, could you try it this way? Could you change that? When they do that, I give them exactly what they have asked for. When I get a call back, when I go back into the room, and sometimes I've had callbacks where it's literally that afternoon, and it's just on and on and on. Then I've had callbacks where it's a week later. So you have to keep the energy up. So what I ask is, I go, do you want it done a different way? If they give me the notes, and they typically do, they'll say, Tricia, tweak this, change this, do that. So I do it exactly as they say. Then when I get a call back, I do that exact same thing again. So I always keep my performance fluid, but I remember what they've said, and I do that same thing again. And I've had casting directors say that. They go, oh, you came in and you gave the same performance. And they go, we were looking for that. Because then they bring in other actors, and they want to see how you work together, the chemistry that you have. So I don't revert to what I was before. I keep doing what I'm doing. And then after I audition, I call my agent right away, and I ask for notes, and I said, have they called you back? Have they said anything about me? And if you have a sharp agent and a good agent, they'll say, yes, Tricia, they liked what you did. They're calling you back. And I'd go, do they want something different? Do they want me to read something different? The same thing? What's going on here? So again, treat it as a business. The more questions you ask, the better you're going to be at what you do. And I not only do that as an actor, I do that as a producer, a writer, a director. I'm
Right.
always asking the camera person, hey, for instance, if we just shot something and we do a playback and I go, well, the lighting, that doesn't look right there. Tweak it, change
Mm,
it, do
mm,
this, do
mm.
that. So
Right.
I think it's really important to be the one asking the
Mhm,
questions and
mhm,
then tweak what you're doing
mhm.
to whoever is in charge, because they will respect you more by doing that. At least in my cases, that's what I found.
Yeah. Wow, very interesting. I don't really know enough about acting actors world. Now, what is a this is a kind of dumb question. Why do act casting agent exist in?
Well,
Why can't just someone to audition for the production?
okay. That okay. I think that's a great question. I don't it's it's just the way the business has been set up. And I
Mm,
think casting directors first and foremost are so important because what they do is they really keep the machine going and working. An agent typically represents you. A casting agent typically then gets a project and they're going to have a bunch of people to cast. Okay. And so they're literally casting. An agent has the talent. What a casting director does to me puts that talent all together. They may have 20 roles to cast, so they're essential in doing that, where an agent has a clientele roster that they represent. So the casting person is going to get all the breakdown of all the different roles that are in that particular film. They're going to be responsible for going to agents and people like that and saying, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. And, some casting directors are agents and things like that. So it varies. And so that's the way, at least I'm in the business and who I'm dealing with, that if I have this project and I need 20 roles casted, I'll go to a casting director who knows the agents and the talent pool, and will say, yeah, we're going to send 12 people who look like this, 17 people who look like that, and they break it all down for me. So that's the difference, how at least I think of, and traditionally who I've worked with, whether it be an agent or a casting directors and what they do. So that's at least how I think I would answer the question personally.
mm,
I'm not a casting director, I'm not an
mm,
agent, but I
mm.
work with them and I see what they do.
Yeah, that's great. You explain so clearly.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you should be a professor. Professor. And I wanted to talk about you have a company called Relevant Entertainment Studios. So tell us a little bit your project, or what is the main inspiration for you to start this. You talk about early a little bit, but tell us more about your company.
Well, Relevant Entertainment Studios is my baby, is how I would describe it. I love my baby. I take care of my baby every day. I have to feed my baby. I have to change my baby. I have to do everything. And it goes back to earlier where I said I started working with a lot of people. And how I'm breaking this down is actually going to bring you to your question real quick here. And I had a lot of people saying, have you ever thought of starting your own business, your own studio, your own production company? And I was saying it scared me because I thought I needed all these people in order to do it. And you do. But there's a lot of times where, because of what I've been doing throughout my life, it's prepared me for Relevant Entertainment Studios. It's prepared me for being a businesswoman, being a business professional. And so I had a couple of my mentors literally come up to me. One in who just cracks me up. When I was working with him, he'd always go like this, and I'm not mocking him, understand me, but he goes, "Hey kid, why don't you take a stab at it?" And he used to say that to me a lot. And one day he sat me down and I thought he was going to fire me or something was going on. And he said, I
Uh,
want to talk to you about something.
yeah.
And I was like, okay. And he said, I believe in you.
Uh,
And I got goosebumps and I got
uh,
chills when he said that to me,
yeah.
because I had a feeling I knew what he was going to say. He goes,
Uh,
you're very talented. I believe in you. A lot of people believe in you, but do you believe in yourself? And I was thinking, well, I think I believe in myself. And he goes, I think you're at a point in your life where if you take a stab at it, you could form a company. You could end up doing it. And years went by, but I always remembered the conversation. And then I said, I got to form my company. I got to get a website. I started going to other business mentors. And now their businesses were different than mine. Some
Mm,
were in the entertainment industries and some weren't. And by doing that, I got a richness and a fullness
mm,
in understanding what business is. And then all of a sudden, it was like the fear went away. I said,
mm,
even if I fail, which of course I'm not going to, because
mm,
I know I'm successful and I'll always
mm,
be successful
mm,
because I believe in myself.
mhm,
And then now what's been happening is others are coming alongside me and helping me with my business to grow it, because my business, I've had it for a very short period of time, actually,
mm,
because I was always working for somebody else. And
mhm,
the thing is this, you can work with it for and with other people. That's fine and that's great if that's what you want to do. But as an artist, as a creative, you will never have the freedom to put the projects on, to do the things you want to do, because you're always under them. You're
mhm.
under their thumb. And you
Right,
know what? They can hire and fire you at any time.
right,
They
right.
can make a decision about your life that you're not informed about, that can
Yeah,
change the course of your professional career.
yeah.
So I said, I don't want that anymore. I want to be a person that brings other creatives alongside me. I have other ideas, and let's see what we can do with them. So now my website is under construction again. I want to redo it.
Yeah.
I'm just constantly seeing how social media is affecting my life, how to go about it. And the thing is this, take one step. If
Mm,
you take one step, that's 1 degree of difference.
mhm.
And a ship changes course with 1 degree of difference, and it either get on course or off course, and the choice is yours. So I highly encourage you that if you have this passion and dream, learn it, know it, surround yourself with mentors and other people that can come alongside you and
Mhm.
help you out. That's what I've done, that's what I'm doing, and what I'll continue to do. And that is the inception of Relevant Entertainment Studios. And there are days I'm scared. There are days I'm high on the mountain. There
Mm.
are days I pull my hair out and go, why did I want to do this? It's
Yeah.
so rewarding because I get to meet people like you, Ching. I get to collaborate. I get to, life's a process. And my brother once told me this, and it's been some of the best advice. And I've gotten great advice from my mother, my father, my sister, and my brother. But he said, Tricia, be gentle with yourself. If it doesn't work out today, tomorrow is always a do-over.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. That's so
So
true.
if I
Right.
if I made an error today, I
Yeah.
can correct it tomorrow. So never give up and believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, others won't.
Yeah, that's so true. And I remember I met you in one of the clubhouse. You either were modding or you were one of the mods, and just the way, oh, I think you were interviewed someone or something, like, yeah, just the way you talk, I really liked it, and you're just very thorough. You're very patient and you listen very well, so I was really
Thank
taken by
you.
you. And I don't remember why you asked me to be on your program. I don't remember.
Well, um, thank you, Ching. And I'm going to say this, listening is an art and it's a skill. And if you ask the right questions, somebody will tell you all their secrets, whether they be deep, dark, or they're in the light. And I genuinely care and love people. And I learned that because I have 2 parents in a family that we have our own forms of dysfunctionality, trust me. But I said it before, we're not perfect, but we're perfect for one another. We accept where we each are in our family journey and as individuals and collectively. And I don't always honor my family. I don't always respect my family. And when I don't, I go to them and I ask for forgiveness. And that's how I treat my business. And that's how I treat my relationships with people. So if I'm listening, I should be able to observe, to attain the wisdom, the knowledge I need in the conversation, because just because somebody asks you your opinion does not mean you need to give it. Just because somebody asks you a question, you don't always have to have the answer, but you can get back to them. And that's how I live my business and my life. And it's
Beautiful.
very simple.
Hmm. Beautiful. So, how many groups you have regularly now on Clubhouse?
Well, I'm in different groups. I'm in several, but the one that I formed with some other members, we meet once a week. It's called the Kingdom Entertainment Biz Room. It's great. It is open to everyone, whether you're thinking of being in arts and entertainment in Hollywood, if you're in it. So you could be a beginner or a seasoned professional. Everyone is welcome. We have wonderful guest speakers like Ching. And I don't know if you all know about what Ching's been up to. I'm very proud of her. And she, talk about knocking it out of the ballpark. When I found out about Ching's project, about Andrew Yang, and I hope you'll brag on that today, because just how you've won the film festivals and how you are viewed as a professional. And I honestly, when I contacted you, I thought, no, she's not going to want to come in and talk to me or the club or be there. And when you did, oh my gosh, I didn't want to end the room, one, and I've gotten to know you personally. And I just have to say, you're an amazing professional. Talk about having all your ducks lined up in a row, knowing the cameras, knowing the iPhones, everything. I was sitting there and I wanted to be you. I These are the kind of people I
Thank
want to
you.
work with. And so for me, and then your passion, not only do you have passion, but you have the skill set behind it. You have a mind that is so logical and creative. And my mind's like that too, where I'm extremely creative. One side I can think, and then I'm at the logical. How is that light looking? The camera speed. Did that person hit their mark? Oh my gosh, the continuities. I mean, I'm terrible in the sense whenever I go to a movie, I'm not fun because I just pick it apart. I don't, not out loud, but I'm in there. I'm going, oh my gosh, how did that get? Was that the
Yeah, you
person?
analyze the movie.
I do. I never watch
Yeah.
something to enjoy it. I'm always
Ah,
about, oh my gosh, didn't they see the
yeah,
hair was off? Didn't
yeah,
they see? Oh my gosh, look at the people walking
yeah.
through the extras. The next shot is on that one instead of, so I'm not fun, I think. I'm a stick in
That's
the
funny.
mud.
That's funny. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So now, I wanted to know, what is it like to win Emmy? Tell us a little bit.
Well, I can't take all the credit on that. It was for a film called Master Meth, and it was dealing with people who are hooked on meth, people
Oh.
who have had a life
Mm.
where it's affected them very negatively, and they've had victory over it. Some of them. It was really hard. I was part of the team, and it was something where it was actually through the Rock Church, through Pastor Miles McPherson. He's the senior pastor. And it was a project that came up, one that was well needed because it deals with addiction. And I'm a person that I have a heart for everyone. We have all different kinds of addiction. It could be food, it could be sexual, it could be drugs, shopping, you name it. That we just have different addictions as
Alcohol.
individuals. Yeah. And so it was something where I got to work on the team. And when they ended up, because I didn't win the Emmy, we won the Emmy. And to be part of that, it was very unexpected. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort. I actually filled out all the paperwork to get nominated for all this stuff. And when it was won, I was so proud. Because it was a project that I think was quite necessary because we have an opioid crisis here in the United States,
Mm,
anyways.
mm.
And I met a lot of people. I have so many stories where we even interviewed people in jail who there's drugs in jail that people are high in jail and you wonder how it gets in there, how it's just crazy what life can be and how things. I was talking to, not to get off topic, but murderers, and it all comes down to we're
Yeah.
people. You know what? We've all broken laws. I just never got caught.
Good for you. Don't
You
get
know,
caught.
when I speed or go through a light, I broke a law. And so
Yeah.
people, we all make choices.
Yeah.
I have chosen to live a certain life. But going back to topic was,
Yeah.
I worked with a very gifted, talented team. It was something when it happened, I fell over, and it
Mm.
was so fun to be part of the team, to be nominated. And now I can say that that's part of my career.
Yeah.
I, like you've done film festivals, done well in those, and been blessed. And so, and the award, it doesn't sound kind of crazy. I'm not in it for the awards. I'm in it to spread hope. I'm in it to, for 2.5 hours or 2 hours or an hour, you forget
Mm.
who you are,
Mm.
and you watch something and you come out and you said, wow, that made me happy. I put a
Mm.
smile on my face. And it might sound kind of corny, but hey, sure, it's nice to get the awards. I'm not going to say it isn't to make
Yeah.
money,
Mm-hmm.
but, and I want to keep my lights on. I want
Mm-hmm.
to, have a
Yeah.
roof over my head and eat. But
Yeah.
I really do it because as a small child, I just knew I was supposed to do it. At a
Mm-hmm.
very early age, I knew that was what
You're a go-getter and winner,
I
right?
try. I mean, I
And
don't.
you discipline. You also have discipline.
Oh, very
Right.
much so.
Right.
And no moss grows on my rocks. Let's put
Yeah.
it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Uh,
So from your experience, tell me a little bit for people who do not know, why filmmakers have to deal with film festival. What's good about film festival?
well, it's interesting because of late I've been hearing different conversations. I think a
Mm.
film festival is
Uh-huh.
good,
Mhm.
especially for people, first time filmmakers, for
Mhm.
people to get your work out there and get noticed.
Mm.
But now sometimes people say, well, no, you don't have to do that circuit. Just get the distribution, just get people to invest. So it's kind of like in my opinion, it's a dog chasing its tail.
Mm.
Because I ask questions, then some people say, oh, I've heard casting directors say, when I cast somebody, I want them to have 1 million followers or already have
Mm.
a name or whatever.
Mm.
But how
Mm.
do you become that if you're just starting out? It's
Mm.
like sometimes even to get your name out there, you have to do certain things that maybe you don't have the hype behind it. And it
Mm.
doesn't mean you're any better or less of a filmmaker.
Mm.
So I started doing film festivals because the people I was involved in the projects were doing film festivals.
Mm.
And you do get invited to come back. There's perks and there's things that do with it. I mean, Ching, you must see, because of your brilliant work, now you're known in these film festival circuits and everything. And they're asking you, and it's going to help you with your career to do the next one or
Mhm.
to get your feature film or TV show or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So it's like each thing has its own little clique or
Right.
own group of people.
Right.
But I think as a filmmaker, it's good to get involved. And hey, I've done film festivals where we got no traction, and that's
Mm.
okay too,
Mm.
because it's more about the experience. It's more about doing it. It's more about getting something filmed than anything.
Yeah.
So it's great to get the acknowledgement, but just because I won an Oscar or an Emmy or I won my fourth grade spelling bee
Mhm.
doesn't
Yeah.
make me, that isn't who I am. That's an accolade. That's something that
Right.
came along with it. But I'm not going to sit here and think I'm better at what I do simply because I have the awards. There's a lot of talented actors, a lot of creatives, a lot of musicians who never get
Mhm. Yeah.
any mention. Does it mean they're lesser? No, of
Yeah.
course not. And then
Yeah.
there's people, can I be honest with you? And I'm going to be that way. There's people that win awards that I scratch my head, like who won the last Academy Award and or film or director, and I think,
Mm.
what? It's
Mm.
all politics.
Mm.
Let's
Right.
get down to the core of it.
Right.
It's who you know is
Right.
very, very helpful,
Mhm.
and they can get you to your next steps. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand politics.
Mhm.
I don't like playing politics, but if it can get my film somewhere and I don't lose my integrity in the
Mhm.
process,
Right.
I'll work the system.
Yeah. I had an experience of whether I should attend a in-person festival last October. It's in Los Angeles. It's called Awareness Film Festival. So I asked a couple of people. Then several people actually said the same thing. Uh, Even if you go there, if you can make one connection, is worth it. So
Right.
somebody said that, and so I actually went because I wasn't sure I should go, and I went, and it was really great. I spent 10 days in Los Angeles, and
Oh,
I
cool.
actually met some filmmakers there, and then we still kept a very good relationship, just the directors. And I interviewed three of them in my program, and one person, I interviewed four of them. One person lives in New York, Leo. Leo actually Solomon, and he lives in New York now. So he maybe will come to my film, and he's a
Awesome.
really, really outstanding actor, you know. And in the film, they brought their film short to the festival. I saw it, and I was so impressed. Yeah. So anyway, it, it, let alone to talk about like getting awards or not, right? It's just, I think the value of going to a live festival is that you meet people.
The energy that, and I personally, I agree with you 100%. I recommend it because today's, and I want to put this, today's PA could end up being tomorrow's studio head. That's how crazy the business is. Like, for example, Sherry Lansing, I think, was an executive assistant at Paramount, and she went to become the president of Paramount. So that shows you, have the skill, have the ability. That's important. Have the talent, definitely. And the things to back it up, that's going to be more helpful because that'll keep you there. That's the
Mhm.
thing I notice is, if you get your foot in the door and let's say your father does the film festival and that's how you got in there, terrific, you still got in there, but your talent's going to keep you there, and
Mhm.
that's what's important. So start meeting these people who recognize your talent, who know who you are, and then you could say, hey, a month from now or next year, I plan on doing a documentary, or I have a feature film or a TV show. I'm going to pitch it. Do you want to get involved? Do you want to come on in as a producer
Mhm.
or as the director? I always align myself with multiple people
Mhm.
because they know what I can do and
Mhm.
I know what they can do. Once you have all your roles defined, I
Mhm.
don't go up to the cinematographer and tell him his job
Mhm.
because I
Right.
know he knows his job.
Right.
But if I were to see something, because I'm a person praise in public and correct in private.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if I have an issue or something's going on with a person or whatever may be happening, I deal with it in real time.
Mhm.
So going back to the film, I know I digress a little bit. Going back to film festivals
Mhm.
is make those connections, talk to those people, because you may never know where it will lead you next year or the year after.
Mhm.
And once they know you have been winning
Mhm.
awards and things like that, they
Mhm.
know you're a professional. Now, the
Right.
difference with me is I'm doing it under my company, under my
Mhm.
studio, under, my business.
Yeah.
I have always done it with someone else, and I kept getting rehired, and then they
Mhm.
encouraged me saying, "Hey, we like what you do and we'll
Mhm.
help you.
Mhm.
Go for it." So, I think the more people you meet, go on these circuits, do these things, it's always of benefit to you.
Right.
Make the
Right.
phone call, back
Yeah.
channel someone, I'm talking about
Right.
Clubhouse now.
Right.
Go on Instagram,
Oh,
reach
by the
out
way,
to them.
your club is the Kingdom at what time is
It's typically Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so that would be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
oh 6 p.m. Yeah, okay. So
And
you do that every week.
we do it every
Yeah,
Monday. We
okay.
have guest speakers, or one of our mods will go
Mhm.
ahead and talk
Mhm.
about a topic.
Okay.
And we've had some great topics,
Mhm.
some great guest speakers.
Mhm. Oh,
Even,
okay.
and we continually, well, I know we're going to have you back. We want you to come back, and I know
Yeah.
you're going to be working on other projects. My dream, my hope is to work with you personally.
Oh, thank you.
You
Oh,
know,
tell us a little bit about you mentioned earlier about diversity. Do
yeah.
you want to talk about?
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Ching. As a professional, as a woman, I have noticed in Hollywood, and we know what's been going on in Hollywood with certain filmmakers, people that have behaved extremely bad for decades and things like that. I'm not going to mention names because I'm not giving them power any longer, and their name should only be mentioned because what they did was incorrect. These people now have been called to the mat. Some are in jail. Some have been released from jail. And I think they're going to go back into jail because of how they behave. That is their choice. That, I'm not here to name names. Like I said, it's just not how I operate, but I'll hold you accountable. So diversity in Hollywood is very important to me because I want all ethnic groups. I want men, women of color, if geographically where you come from, that traditionally have not been given opportunity. There are young filmmakers that are extremely talented, or people who've been in the industry for a very long time that have been given no voice. And part of what Relevant Entertainment Studios does and Kingdom Entertainment Biz does is we invite people in to give their perspective, to tell us about what traditionally has happened to them as a professional and what we want to do to change it. And it becomes, one, by giving you a voice, and two, following up with an action. An action can be giving a person a role, giving a person an opportunity on set, giving a person, hiring them into your company or to your project. So what we're doing is we're saying, we know you're out there. We've heard from you. We're opening our arms to you. We want to hire you, or we just want you to come in and talk and tell us what's happened to you. Make it mainstream so that people no longer encourage this type of behavior, no longer support it. And the company, our group, the club, all of this, we're all in agreement, and we're just saying, we simply love and honor you for who you are. And that's pretty much it for us. So we're actively
Excellent.
doing something about it, because there's been
Wow.
enough talk.
Mhm.
Talk is cheap, as they say. And
Yeah.
now we're saying, this is what we're going to do. And
Mhm.
looking at other companies, other people, and saying, what are you going to do? How are you going to help us? How are you going to come
Mhm.
alongside us?
Yeah, that's great. Shark Fin said, indeed, some great pearls of inspiration and advice being dropped here.
Thank you,
Just-
Shark Fin,
yeah,
my
and
new
Lewis is
friend.
here. Thank you, Lewis. Very inspirational.
Welcome,
So,
Lou.
yeah, and I understand. I was asking you earlier off the camera, so what kind of last name do you have? Korea, and then you told me the stories about. Would you like to talk about a little bit? We have to
I'd
end
love it.
very soon. You want to tell us like where your ancestors come from?
Well, thank you, Ching. I think a lot of who I am was what was deposited into me. But I'm also a believer, if you grew up in a harsh household, an unforgiving household, which I didn't, that's foreign to me, or if you were abused or certain things happened to you, it doesn't define who you are. It actually makes you better of who you are. And I was very fortunate that I grew up in a big family. We had family get-togethers. Oh my gosh, Christmas, Easter, 4th of July, go to the beach, have a beach party. I just always knew love. Now, again, I've said it so many times, we weren't perfect, but we were perfect for one another. I, grew up in a generation where there was respect, honor, integrity. If somebody fell short from those standards, they were spoken to in love. And sometimes love can be in a way that you feel like they're really hurting you, but they're actually helping you. So I always had parents that these were kind of their rules. They said, for as long as you're under my roof, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. If you can't do X, Y, and Z, we encourage you to create your own roof and live the life that you want. So I always had the flexibility, and I knew when I messed up, they would say, hey, you're forgiven, but don't do it again. And so with that standard, it gave me a very high bar, an attainable bar, even though it was high, that I could do that and have that perspective. So I had aunties and uncles and brothers and sisters and cousins. I had an uncle who made wine. He would make his own wine. You go to the mountains, you pick the grapes. He had these wine presses. So I always had that sense of my tribe and my community, and it made me stronger for who I am. And so as a child, my parents are from originally Portugal, the Azorean Islands. I'm trying to remember if there's 9 or 11 now. I was laughing with you, Ching. I couldn't remember. Long story short, you'd think I'd know that. My parents came from, it's the island of São Miguel. I'm fluent in Portuguese. I speak it. So I'm very blessed because I grew up learning the language and speaking the language. And so it's a lot of fun for me to always keep different languages up. But my parents came over to this country. They were first on the East Coast in Massachusetts. Then they migrated here to California. Thank you very much. I love the weather. to San Diego. And so I always had that sense of community. So here are immigrants coming to the United States. My grandfather, though, was an American citizen. So my grandmother was a Portuguese, citizen, but they came to the United States. They were on the East Coast, migrated West Coast, and they did very well, but they had very high standards. We worked, I remember being a very small child, go out and do your chores. You had to do your chores, your homework first, then you'd go out and play. In the evenings, we only got a certain amount of TV time. Family time was extremely important. And so I always had those values. I would walk into a room where my family was. We would greet every person. You would kiss them. You would acknowledge them. They would acknowledge you. You were important. They believed in you. They dreamed with you. And if they didn't even understand what you wanted to pursue, and they might not get it, they were still there for you. There were times my parents had to have hard talks with me when I first decided to be in this business. They were all, do you think you can make a living at it? I said, yeah, I do believe. But when a job went away, I'll flip burgers. I'm proud. I do whatever it takes to
Yeah.
keep the money coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and I'd still do it if right now something were to dry up. I'm a hustler. I'm always
Mm.
looking for the next job. I'm always figuring out what I can do. So I had a very good work ethic. I had moral, ethical parents. So that's all I know. And that's how I do business. And that's how I live my life. I don't
Wow.
know anything different.
Mhm.
But very high standards. I will tell you, my parents, when we brought a report card home and there were low marks, and that was rare, trust me, they would say, do you need a tutor? What's going on? What's
Mm.
happening? Talk
Mm.
to mom and dad. What? So I had respect and fear for my parents. I was joking with some friends the other night. With my mom and dad, if my mom said, wait till your father comes home, I'd shake.
Wow.
They give us the eye, we'd make the joke. If I got
Mm.
an eye, boy, we knew we'd straighten out. There
Mm.
were things that they'd say no.
So strict. Very good. Yeah.
But good,
Like Asian parents.
yeah, good strict,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
when you're going through it, you think it's terrible.
Mm. No, I can understand that. Yeah, my mom is very strict. So yeah, I think we are at 4:06. I mean, my time. So I think we need to wrap up today. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Did
you.
we touch
Yeah.
enough
Well,
topic?
there is one thing I would like to touch again. I want to encourage everybody to please go see my Yang Gang diary. I I have seen it. It's so good. I love what you did,
Thank
Ching,
you.
excuse me. And you are such an amazing creative, and it's something that you got to the core of it. How you shot it was so creative, what you've done. And I'm so glad you're getting your due. And I hope people please reach out to Ching, go watch it, go to the festivals. When she's in town, wherever your town is, I don't care if it's, downtown, North Town, but it's so fun. It's so good how you chose to interview people, the angles, just everything. I watched it. I was
Thank
jealous I
you.
wasn't in it. I have to be
Thank you.
real. Keep it real.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. You guys can check the website of my Yangon Diary, and you can watch on Vimeo on demand if you want to. And also Friday, this coming Friday, in 2 days at
Yeah.
5 p.m. It's going to be showing in New York City in Cinema Village. So,
I just would like to say one thing, Ching, for anyone who watches this, for anyone who, whether you're working in Hollywood, arts and entertainment, whatever your call is, whatever your passion is in life, go for it, do it, take the chance, find your tribe, get your gang, whatever it may
exactly.
be. And
Exactly.
if I can do it, you can do it. And I highly encourage you, reach out to professionals. Don't let anyone or anything discourage you from being the voice that you are, because things are changing. And there's a lot of people out there that will give you the chance. So I just say, go for it. Learn it, know it, but go for it. And that would
Thank
really
you.
be my encouragement to any professional. I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a creative,
Mm.
that's what it's all about, is that only you can fulfill your destiny. Only your name's attached to that, no one
Exactly.
else. And if you're feeling down today, if certain things are going on, just listen to our voice, because we hear you, we love you, and we want to encourage you in all your endeavors. So that would really be it for me today.
So profound. So profound. Thank you so much, Tricia. So great to
You're
have you.
welcome.
Let's talk again, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, we will.
Yeah. It's like the time is too short. And yeah, so
Thank you for the
thank you.
opportunity. It's been
Thank
a
you. Thank
privilege and
you.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
And
And
thank
we
you,
want to
everybody.
thank, yeah, I want to thank all the audiences with us. And thank you so much. Yeah. So, yeah, see you soon on Clubhouse.
Yes. See you all. God bless
Okay.
you. And thank you
Okay.
again. I love you guys. Bye
Thank
now.
you. Love you. Thank you. I'm ending.